The economic recovery from the COVID-19 will demand increased need for innovative solutions to address housing affordability, particularly for low-income earners. What is the prospect for the delivery of affordable housing post-COVID-19? Housing Development Advocacy Network held yet another educative webinar on works in housing, the future prospects for delivering affordable housing post-COVID-19. Watch this.
One of the biggest problems in housing subsector is that we don't have a coordinated voice. Some time back, the former president Obasanjo brought out Professor Mabogunje. He became a rallying point for us in the housing subsector, and he did a lot for us. And after that, one of the people that Professor Mabogunje worked very closely was the late Sir Fortune ABA, who did a lot. And after that, I don't know which directions to point. When we want to talk of housing delivery, between us as professionals, I do not know whether there is a working relationship between us as a team so we can present a common agenda so that the government can work on it. If we understand how government operates, government goes in empty and they buy the agenda that is brought by different interests and they present such interests. And government operates by what you call the line of least resistance. Even in the former national housing policy, the very first one, there's a phrase there. He said the agitations of the people woke up government. That was the phrase. In which case, it is what people do that wakes government up. And then when we move without a direction, when we're not articulate, when we are not together, we cannot have that voice to wake up government. It's so sad that we are talking of revising the national housing policy. And yet, here, I know every day I just keep smiling. We have a subsector where everybody sees his own time to shine. Back to what Professor Zubairu said, who was incidentally one of our members on the committee, he's very correct. There is a major problem in the ministry. During that process of trying to find out how to solve the problem, we realize that some of the problems are not because they are stupid people. No, I believe that the civil servants are amongst the most resourceful, the most intelligent, the most articulate. The only thing is that we are expecting something from nothing. As a result, a man who is a director, when you look at his salary, it's difficult for you to tell him that he cannot give his child a decent training outside the country. And his salary cannot do that. So when you tell a man that is in the housing ministry that he cannot get involved in direct construction, but he should just come and allow you to do the business and he will just be supervising. When he understands what is in the business and he needs the money of the business, there's a problem. So the issue is, how do we address this fundamental problem that will make the civil servant to say, okay, we are strictly policy, regulation outfit. Let the construction, look, everybody knows where the money is in housing. It's in the construction. My concern is, should the ministry be in the construction market? No.
And the national housing policy stated this so clearly that government will no longer be involved in direct construction of houses. And that was what we wanted to repetition. And the civil servants, they fought us to a halt, that we wanted to turn civil servants to commission agents. They were to work with developers to deliver this new build. They were to work with developers to do urban regeneration. We went around the country. We discovered that there are thousands of houses that are different stages, embarked upon by cooperative. We got to Onitsha. We saw estate of 400 units that they plan to build within 10 years. We brought all the cooperatives on board. Every state in this country has a large number of registered cooperatives that have acquired land. They laid the foundation. Some of them are built to little level. All we just needed to do is to give home completion loan. And I kept saying that there was a time in this country, 1977, when they noticed that there were so many houses that were not completed. 1977, federal government gave loan, and thousands of properties came to the market. There are several cooperatives in Odisha, in Lagos, that have projects. They've already acquired land. They just needed to be helped, assisted to complete. If they have the mind to complete in the next 5 years, if you give them access to loan, because they've gotten approved building plan, they have their land, they have the service on the land, with just little amount of money, they complete. And when the cooperatives were assisted, we'll be able to realize more than this 300 that we are targeting. But if we continue to say new build, we'll build 300 this week, the question will be, where will they get money? They are saying that let us break it down. There are many Nigerians that have already assisted themselves. They have land. The next question that will come next week is that where will they get land from? Let me conclude by saying that where I come from, there is a common saying that that is, it's not one road that leads to market. Several roads lead to market. Let's stop thinking only new build. Let's put everyone, including old ones that are almost abandoned. Let's re-engineer them. Get more than this 300 that is actually planning.
A lot has been achieved. Leaders have been raised in the sector. And those leaders that have been raised in the sector must not retire. Fortunately, Abia was at his duty post till he died. And therefore, we have no business retiring at 80, at 90, because then our voice will even carry more weight than what is carrying now. If you are a civil servant, you must realize one thing. Why the private sector was called in 2002, 2004 to come in was because government failed. The Federal Housing Authority and the various state housing development corporations were meant to be the social housing development agencies. Because they failed, Oshomole was trying to close down the National Housing Program in 2002. President Obasanjo reacted and said, no, let us rewind this in. Peter Odele, governor of Rivers State, was set up. Thereafter, then Professor Akim Abogunje came in and did a restructuring of the system, and then we had the creation of the Ministry of Housing. We cannot so easily forget and begin to postulate that the same people that failed ought to be given the same example. In 2015, when this current minister came in, he felt that the private sector failed. Some of us said, "Oga, take it easy. Try and understand why you think they failed and what should be done right." And he rushed into the National Housing Program, thinking he would do better than them. And that National Housing Program has failed. The houses are not finished. The cost of those houses are much bigger than what the private sector have been delivering. So let us get away from failures and then look at solutions. And then the solution is this. We are looking at this problem from a very narrow perspective. The issue is this. We don't have the delivery mechanism. If they make me the Minister of Housing today, I will also fail. Because we are looking at it in isolationist level, rather than looking at the whole transaction dynamics and find out who are the stakeholders. How can we effectively engage them? What do they need for them to play their role effectively? And ask ourselves so many other questions. Do we have data? If we really want to help our people and use the housing sector as a means of employment generation, what we ought to do will be simple. We sit down with the stakeholders, like your committee did in 2012, and come up with a workable program. Rather than doing what we have been doing for these past few years, what we do is that we criticize an institution and use their perceived failure as a pretext to set up another institution. If we want to build houses for our people and in the process lift them from poverty, because it is the quickest intervention in order to lift our people from poverty and create employment, we need to dimension the whole value chain. We need to look at the problems that we have. We need to stop using this as an scapegoat. So I do think that what we have to tell ourselves are as follows. Why don't we sit down and dimension these problems in the housing ecosystem and come up with a workable program, and thereafter insist that whoever occupies any position, whether minister, whether private sector, there has to be a regulation that forbids you from driving recklessly across the pathway and causing accidents, as we have been having in this past period. And that, for me, is a very critical starting point in what we need to do. Otherwise, the problem will continue to occur. We have sufficient leaders to hold them accountable.
If the fundamentals are faulty, whether it is private or public, it will fail. Now, how does the PPP come in here, public-private partnership? PPP is just a method of procurement. Now, the government wants to provide 300,000 houses per annum, and some people are saying it's not possible. It is possible. But the question the government has to ask itself is, do we procure it through traditional procurement, which is government engaging a contractor and paying the contractor, or do we engage investors who will now employ contractors, and the investors will pay the contractors and recover their money? PPP is used all over the world. There are generally 4 reasons why PPP is used. The first is financial reasons, shortage of funds. And that is the main reason countries in EMDEs, that's emerging markets and developing economies, use it. There are other reasons, project efficiency, that the private person is, sector is more efficient than the public. We are not saying that the public sector is not efficient at all, because they don't want to hear it. Yes, they are efficient, but the private is more efficient due to a number of reasons. Then government efficiency. PPP reduces corruption and waste, because the private sector's money is at risk, lenders' money actually, and there must be lenders' oversight. There's no question of high-level corruption there, because in traditional procurement, a job of 2 billion can be inflated to 3 billion and 1 billion shared. You don't do that in PPP. Nobody will go to bank and borrow 1 billion and share to anybody. It's not possible. The fourth reason is ideological reasons. Okay, let's get back to the first reason, which is the main reason in EMD countries. Government wants to build 300,000 houses per annum, and I said it's possible. And they have arrived at a cost of 900 billion. Okay, let's forget about whether 3 million can build a house or not. Let us assume they are correct. The simple question is this: does government have 900 billion to invest in housing? It's a simple question. If the answer is yes, let them go ahead, direct construction. But if the answer is no, as I believe is no, then they have to get in the private sector to come in with their money. And they come in through PPP arrangements. PPP does not hang in the air. There are usually factors that make it successful. About 10 factors. One is top political commitment. That is the president, the vice president, the minister himself must believe in PPP, not just in words, but in body language also. That is what will attract reputable investors. Then, most importantly, the procurement environment must be fair, economic, transparent, and competitive. No reputable investor goes to put his money where the process is opaque. Once these things are done, Nigeria is a very big market. People will come and invest. Now, if we build these 300 houses in 1 year, which the private sector can easily do, the beneficiaries, if they pay 30,000 a month, which is easy for level 10, 12 officers and the equivalent in the private sector, it comes to 360,000 a year for each person. Multiply by the 300,000, you're having about 108 billion naira annually. If you start paying 108 billion annually for the next 15 years, I have not done the detailed calculation, but this is just a rough calculation because we are still at the high level, conceptual level. If you pay for 15 years, it will cover the 900 billion invested by investors, their profits and interest. So the solution is public-private partnership. There's no other solution. There's no magic about it. Other countries have made use of it and they have succeeded. But the problem we are having in Nigeria, which other countries had, they overcame, which we must overcome, is that public servants are not ready to give up their hold on direct construction. One is that they wrongly believe that PPP means the end of award of contract. No, it doesn't follow. Out of these 300,000 houses, they can build 30,000 direct if they want to. Why 270,000 houses are built through the private sector? That can be done if they insist on getting themselves involved. And again, PPP affects, there's a shift in a political and economic power network, because you don't find subcontractors going to the ministries again. They go direct to the site to meet the private sectors. So these things weaken the public sector. They don't want to see such things. But as I said, all we need is the political will. All these bad roads, Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, Enugu-Onitsha, Lagos-Ibadan Express Road has been on since 2009. I remember that one very well because I was still serving in the place. 11 years, we are still on one road of about 120 kilometers. They don't build road that way. Enugu-Onitsha, all of them, bad infrastructure here and there. These are things that can easily and be simply solved by involving the private sector. But as I said, the problem is the public sector, they are not ready to give up. A number of reasons.
The quality and quantity of available housing stock in any country measures the development and quality of life of her people. On housing development, I make it my top priority to bring to you trending housing information and day-to-day housing plight of Nigerians.
If me as a civil servant working for my country cannot get access to housing loan, I don't know what else we can do.
Can you imagine that somebody will pay for 2 years rent and he's not sure of the next 3 months money in his pocket?
I also analyze the housing policies and strategies of government with stakeholders.
Let the federal government next level be seen in the area of housing. Nigeria deserves to be housed.
Housing issue is a journey of 1,000 miles. I don't think that anybody can pretend that we're going to close the 17 million homes gap in 5 years.
Housing development is your one-stop source for housing information. Join me